Good morning, McGraw. Thanks for having me on.
You got it. You are part of Show-Me Cannabis. You're part of the group working to collect more than 150 signatures, 150,000 voter signatures by May to put on the ballot a initiative to legalize marijuana in the state. Do I have that correct?
Yes, we are trying to get signatures to put an initiative on the ballot that would regulate cannabis like alcohol and tobacco.
And how is that going?
It's going pretty well. I'm actually in charge of most of the signature gathering in most of eastern Missouri, and we have about 150 trained volunteers out collecting signatures already. We'll probably have about 300 in just the St. Louis area by mid-January. So we have quite a few people out there working to get signatures, and we expect to get all the signatures in by April. So.
All right, good. How are you being financed?
Right now, it's mainly just a few people and some grassroots fundraising, but we're pretty much on a shoestring at the moment. So
you don't have any big corporate interests backing you in any way, shape, or form?
No, certainly no big corporate interests.
Interesting. All right. Now, you wrote a op-ed piece in our hometown newspaper, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, stltoday.com, and you make an interesting comparison between alcohol, tobacco, and marijuana.
Yeah, so it's actually the case that they just did the newest Monitoring the Future study. Actually, the numbers that I had in the op-ed piece aren't even the most recent. That the very day it was published, they had new numbers that came out, and while alcohol use among teenagers is going down, marijuana use among teenagers is going up, and if that doesn't speak to the complete ineffectuality of prohibition, I don't know what does. Alcohol, which is a legally regulated substance, we're having more success getting people to stop using it and abusing it than we are with cannabis, which is prohibited. So we're putting all this money into making sure that this thing's completely illegal, and yet more people are using it, and more high school seniors now actually use cannabis than smoke cigarettes.
All right, say this again. You wrote this in the story. You're saying your numbers show, or independent studies show, that high school seniors smoke more marijuana than cigarettes.
Well, I don't know if it's actually more actual marijuana, but it is. More high school students have smoked cannabis than smoke cigarettes on a regular basis.
And cigarettes being regulated and have to show 18 forms of ID and must be 18 years of age or older. With marijuana, the guy on the street corner really doesn't care how old your son or daughter is.
Exactly. It's very unlikely that anyone's checking ID when they're selling cannabis.
Right.
At this point.
I've also heard that a lot of drug enforcement people say when you go to the corner to buy the marijuana and they don't have any, they'll substitute it with something harsher: meth, crack, cocaine, LSD, heroin, whatever, because they can't get the marijuana.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. So, I mean, most people that get involved with any kind of drugs, the way that it happens is that the person who sells it to them, that's their first point of contact within the illicit drug world is through marijuana, and it's not that it's actually the marijuana that provides the gateway, but it's the current legal structure forces it into, you have to go and deal with a guy who might be selling Lord knows what. So if it were legally regulated, you wouldn't have that interaction, and it would just be alcohol, tobacco, and cannabis that would be legally available.
John, how many people in the state of Missouri get arrested for smoking and or possession of marijuana?
Well, in 2007, there was about 21,000 people arrested for simple possession. 23,000 people were arrested total for cannabis offenses, but 21,000 of those just simple possession.
And how many of those 21,000 end up in jail?
That I don't really know off the top of my head. but it's a substantial portion. You don't necessarily end up in prison often, but a lot of people will end up in jail overnight, or if you're cited and you can't pay or you don't have your ID on you or something, you will end up in jail overnight at least. So it's quite a few people. Right.
Yeah. 21,000 is quite a bit. How many governors' sons have been arrested and prosecuted for marijuana possession?
Well, nationwide, I'm not sure, but in Missouri, I know that at least one he was not arrested, but he was cited, and then the charges were dropped. And from what I understand, Governor Nixon's son was cited, and the charges were kind of flimsy. But I will say that I know for a fact that there have been many flimsy cannabis charges that have gone forward for people that aren't governor's sons.
Right. Now, we don't know if the governor used any of his influence. No one's implying that he did, but it is interesting how Wilson Nixon's charges were dropped and other charges have carried on.
Right. And also, I think the governor was right when he said that he released a statement right after it happened that said that this was a private matter, and I agree wholeheartedly. The unfortunate thing is that he presides over a state that does not treat cannabis possession as a private matter. It's a very public matter in this state, and in fact, it's a misdemeanor punishable by a year in prison or up to $1,000 fine, and $1,000 fine. So that's not what most people would consider a private matter, but I agree that it should be.
John Payne, let's say you get enough signatures for the ballot initiative. The ballot initiative passes. What type of world do you see with this law being enacted?
Well, I don't think it's actually going to be all that terribly different than the world today. I think cannabis use would remain largely unchanged. I do think that we might be able to actually reduce it in some ways. I think the best way to go about reducing the use of any drug is to deal with it honestly and openly, as opposed to making up stories about it. So I think we might have more success on that front. We would also be saving a substantial amount of money. It's about $80 million per year that we would be saving just in Missouri alone if we cut back on cannabis and prohibition enforcement and then taxed it at a reasonable rate. So we'd be able to cut taxes elsewhere, or spend more money at the government on other things. So.
John, would I be able to go into Walgreens and buy a box of marijuana cigarettes?
Not necessarily Walgreens, but yes, there would be licensed distributors for cannabis.
Right, and then who would grow it? Would Eli Lilly grow it, or would Glaxo, distribute it? How would that work?
Those are possibilities, certainly, and individuals would be allowed to grow a small amount for their own personal use.
What about the feds? Wouldn't the feds come in and then just arrest you because it's a federal crime?
That is possible, but there's only so many federal agents. And as the DEA is figuring out in California right now, they're trying to crack down on the medical marijuana industry in California, and they can only go after some of the largest operations. The individual medical marijuana patients out there are not getting caught up in that. So it's highly unlikely that anyone but large operations ever would. So individual users would largely be fine. And also, this is the only way that the federal government is going to change its policies. It's what happened at the end of alcohol prohibition. The states started to say, look, we're not going to enforce these laws anymore. You can try if you want to, but we don't have the resources. And eventually the federal government had to change their ways as well.
John, I'm really out of time. In terms of tax revenue, do we know how much money that the state of California is earning in tax revenue off of marijuana cigarettes?
I do not know exactly how much the state of California is earning, but like I said, for the state of Missouri, it's estimated, a study by Harvard economist Jeffrey Myron, that it would be about $80 million a year for Missouri.
There you go. John Payne, thank you very much. Good luck, John.
Thank you very much.
John from the Show-Me Cannabis, trying to put legalizing marijuana on the ballot for us to vote on next election. 8:32 on the Big 550 KTRS.